Right. Hello, everyone. Hello, listeners. Welcome to the inauguration, the momentous maiden voyage of the Constant Prime podcast. I'm Jim. I'm the intro man. I'm the host today. I'm known to draw things every now and then. I've made a comic once. It's the best comic in the world. Go view it. There's a link down in the description. Lol. I'm joined by Keeb.
Hello, hello.
Say hello. Say more.
Hello, I am Keeb. I run a YouTube channel called Super Contigo.
Should go check it out. It's the best channel ever made. I'm also joined
Best
by...
channel ever made.
I'm joined by Harry.
Hey guys, is this the CP server?
No!
Ruined already. Cancelled.
No!
The police are on their way.
How many seconds did it take?
My limit is 30.
I'm also joined by Punished T-Ball. Say hello.
Hang on, Jim, you should edit in that bit. The mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I will.
All right,
But yeah,
sorry.
I'm also joined by T-Ball.
Hello, I'm Tibor. I'm known as a bit of an internet personality in a fair few circles. Known to cook for a living, do cosplay, and that's about it, really. Amateur drawing, learning from Jim here, who is my senpai from time travel purposes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right,
So it's
but
like,
anyway...
so it's like Orange, but your biggest regret is I didn't learn how to draw, so I'm gonna go back in time.
Yeah.
Make Jim my senpai.
Exactly. We're going to use time travel here so that the person that is 7 years younger than me can write a bunch of advice to the person 7 years ago. So we'd actually be receiving advice from someone who's the same age as we're sending the advice to then. It's all a bit of a mess, but, you know, if you've played anything like Zero Time Dilemma, you're just like, I get you. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey.
Right then, without further ado, the topic for today, our first core topic is media we couldn't get into or understand the appeal of. And I think Keeb will have something to say about that, considering what you've been doing recently.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. So this is what okay, I think I know what you're inferring by that. Do you want me to start, or...?
I mean, I don't know, it might get a bit nuclear right off the bat, but I feel like it's a good way to just set the tone.
That's just fucking it. Let's just go nuclear.
Go on.
Okay, so... For everyone who doesn't know, because that's everyone. So, on my YouTube channel, I am doing a series called Backvlog. The purpose of which is to do videos on the build-up of media I've got in my backlog. So, it's my excuse, really. Which I think, actually, that's kind of like all YouTube videos I consume. I always kind of have this, like, feeling when people make videos, it's like, they're just kind of doing it to get something out the way. But yeah. So, for the purposes of Backvlog, I am playing through the Final Fantasy XIII trilogy, and I'm currently playing through Final Fantasy XIII, and I hate it.
You love it. You love every second of it. So, for the sake of making it abundantly clear, who has actually played Final Fantasy XIII before, and who has finished it?
Yeah, I finished it.
And you, Tibor?
No, this is why I need Keeb to do this, so I can actually speak to someone who has done this Herculean feat. Because I haven't, and there's only so much you can go off the hearsay of it's bad. But why?
It's less
Why is it bad?
Why
Let's
is
just
it
get into
bad?
it. Why is it bad?
Yeah, just to quickly clarify, is people say all these things are bad, and sometimes you need it explained. But why is theft bad? Because it takes something from someone. Why is murder bad? Because life is intrinsically precious, and you've robbed that from someone. Why is Final Fantasy XIII bad? We need this put in the Ten Commandments. Thou shalt not play Final Fantasy XIII. But why?
the worst of all of the aforementioned crimes.
Yeah, so
Playing Final Fantasy 13.
key here is the Moses that is going to add this 11th commandment, but also explain why.
Yes. At least I think so. I mean, okay, like... so, I mean, I guess, like, why we're talking about it here is because... As, like... I'm sure, like, okay, like, I'm sure, like, someone is listening to this and thinking, like, the fuck are we talking about? Because Final Fantasy 13 is hot garbage, it's garbaggio, and, like, no one likes it. Surely no one likes it. But there are people who like Final Fantasy 13. And I take no issue with people. You can like whatever the fuck you want to like. But, like, okay, it's like, I've got to understand your rationale, your logic for why you like the thing. If I can understand why you can like it, I can, like, it puts me at ease. It's like, okay, well, I don't agree, but it's fine. You know, we're all gonna agree to disagree and etc. So, you know, like, the thing that keeps me up at night is not understanding why people like this game. And playing it, like, there are still... I haven't answered the question yet.
You know what? Actually, I've got to ask, it just occurred to me. So we know that there are people who like this game, but does anyone know any actual rationale as to why? Has anyone ever been explained to as to why Final Fantasy 13 could be good?
I have.
Ever?
The only... I'll let someone else talk if they've got something to say.
I had someone explain to me that they liked the auto battle system because they didn't have to think while playing.
Sorry, the what system?
The auto battle system.
Oh, the auto battle system.
Yeah, they just wanted to see the shiny code. This is for someone who had not played many video games in their life.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean it's incorrect, but...
Their opinion is objectively wrong.
I mean, this is something that has been on my mind about it, because I feel like everything they've done is to strip away the things that are, I guess unfriendly to newcomers of JRPGs, which is kind of an oddity. That's kind of an oddity in and of itself, because when you JRPGs are already like boiled down like tabletop RPGs, right? Compare to most Western RPGs, there isn't a lot of like number crunching really going on, and that might sound like a bit of a hot take. It isn't. I'm not saying that all JRPGs. I'm not trying to infer or imply the JRPGs are bad. I'm not doing that at all. I love JRPGs.
You don't need to do that. They are.
But the problem with Final Fantasy 13 is, like, they strip. I think. All right, it's like, okay, you. It's like when you go and have your hair cut, and it's like, yeah, a lot of people have been complaining that I have too much hair, so they're like, so you're like, all right, barber, take this much off, and he goes, sure, and then he just takes the entire thing off, because you haven't specified enough how much you want taking off. So, like, I don't think anyone ever complained to Square Enix, like, oh yeah, there's too much game in your game. But someone obviously made that complaint to the extent that Square Enix were like, sure, and they took the whole thing off, right? So, you're left with something that's, like, incredibly boiled down. Like, the easiest thing, I've made this comparison over the last few days. The battle system is most similar to the battle system in 10.2, which isn't a bad system. I actually kind of like there's something to be said. So 10.2 has the whole like the dress spheres and the garment grid. Dress spheres are basically the job classes, and the garment grid is the method of which you swap between jobs
mid-combat.
Yeah. And much like the paradigm shift, depending on which garment grid you use, there are like certain buffs or debuffs or ability unlocks depending on the combination of jobs you put together. So, you know, like, some people will have, like, favorite garment grids, you know, because, they'll have, like, certain buffs on them, and these work well with this set of job classes.
Mostly you just push into the ones that have, like, break damage limit and break HP limit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you get the one that lets you instantly swap to your special form.
Yeah, but you'll get stuff that, like, they buff magic, they'll buff, like, magic, HP, they'll just buff your stats.
Yeah.
Or they'll unlock certain magic spells, so say now you don't want to use, like, a white mage class, but you want to use, like, Cura or something, it's like, there'll be a garment grid, I think it's like Healing Halo or something like that. And I think, like, if you change jobs in a certain succession, it unlocks Cura for you, so then you can use it in the fight without having to have a white mage.
Oh yeah, and you could eventually progress that to one that just has, like, you just equipping it lets you use your white mage skills.
Yeah. I don't know why you'd ever just not go into a fight without a white mage or some healing class, but there you go. Like, you know, like, 10.2 at least had a lot of customization, and you had to develop and build the abilities yourself for like each individual job class for each individual character. So there was a lot of grinding, you could say. There was a lot of stuff to do in terms of building and developing your characters in that game.
There was so much, because you had to do it for each character, like the sphere grid in 10.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, like, that's if you're, like, really, really trying to, like, maximize your time with the game. But, like, if you just want to get through it, then you would ideally just, you know, have the characters have, like, set roles to play in combat. But yeah, you had to do that for each individual character, and because of the active time battle nature of the system, it was kind of like, fights could get a little bit chaotic, and there was no auto battle or anything like that, so you could kind of lose track of what you were doing. I noticed sometimes it did just get a little bit out of hand. So with 13, it's like, the paradigm shift is like, there are combinations of job classes for your entire party. Which, like, it's like, okay, like, so, you know, they've got, like, Commando is, like, basically, like, your warrior class, and then you got Ravager, which is, like, Black Mage. The Medic, I guess, is, like, healing. Yeah, it is. Synergist is, like buffs. Saboteur is debuffs on enemies. It's
interesting.
It's simple. To be honest, I'm over-explaining it, which isn't helping, but, like, it is relatively simple. Like, you just mash, like, you give the characters, like, select roles, like, combinations in the main menu, and then you just shift to them.
Yeah, the way you described it makes it sound overly complex, but moment to moment, it is very, very simple.
Yeah, I think, and I seem to remember that when the game first came out, that this was, like, the problem. I used to see, like, people sort of mock 13 in terms of, like, oh yeah, it gets good after the 35-hour-long tutorial or something like that. Which I think that's okay, like, because the game keeps throwing tutorials at you, but, like, nothing's really being explained. It's like the gameplay is so simple, and yet they over-explain it, which is what confuses people, I think. Because it does make the system seem more complex, but all that's really going on is you set up a combination of job classes to do something, and then you swap to other combinations when necessary. So, for example, when you want to do, like, chain attacks or, like, combos, you'll have, like, everyone in, like, an attack formation, if you like. So, like, you know, you'll have, like, Commando, Ravager or something. And then, you know, that'll just be, like, attacking and, you know, tossing, like, offensive magic at the enemies. And then, oh no, like, they might fuck your shit up a little bit. So then you go into, like, Medic and maybe, like, throwing a few buffs in there. Or maybe you want to, like, you know, heal but still be doing some damage at the same time. So you might have, like, commando and medic at the same time or something. So, yeah, you just, like, switch as the circumstances change in battle. And the one thing I do like about the paradigm shift is that at least it feels kind of, like, slick. Because, like, it's a simple button press and the entire party changes to whatever it needs to be at that given moment. Okay. Whereas, like, I can kind of remember at times in maybe, like, 10-2 where, like, if everyone's getting fucked and you need everyone to be something, it's like you need to, like, you need to, like, swap round and, like, navigate their garment grids to get everyone into the right job role in time. And, you know, the combat doesn't stop moving, so, you know, if you're not quick enough, you're kind of fucked. But 13 is nice and kind of slick in that regard. It's just that it's very simple, and also it kind of plays by the rule of if the character that you're in current control of, because you only control, like, one party member at a time. Yeah, like in you play as the leader in combat. So if the leader dies, that's just an instant game over. Everyone's dead. So, you know, it doesn't matter if you're playing, like, Lightning and Zaz dies, doesn't matter. If Lightning dies, that's it, game over. And that annoys me because sometimes you're not, especially in the beginning, you're not in control of who the enemy decides to attack. So, you know, if they decide to, like, use a move on... Yeah,
aggro skills.
Aggro skills?
Yeah, aggro deflections. Does it lack those?
They don't, like... When at the beginning of the game, Snow is kind of the designated, like, defense character. He's his, like, first job class is Sentinel, I believe.
Which
he's
has
the big
no
buff
attacks.
bro.
He's the big buff bro who's, like, going to, like, protect everyone because we're heroes and all that shit. Yeah, that's Snow's job. That's the other thing, like at the beginning, like, only certain characters have access to certain roles. I guess that's, like, so you, like, learn, like, what each of the roles kind of does. Because you're never, like... I'm already, like, 13 hours into the game, and I just don't have, like...
13 hours, oh!
It's the fucking magic number, fuck. It's, yeah, like, I don't have, like, full control over my party yet. That's the other problem with the game. It's very, very linear. Incredibly linear. Like, there are towns in the game, but, like, or at least not, there are towns in the game, but not towns in how we typically think of towns in JRPGs. There's never any downtime, because, like, the whole premise, I guess, is that the characters are on the run, because now they've been branded, like, l'Cie. So they're just on the run. Apparently, yeah, they're running constantly, so there's no real downtime. And when you get to a town, it's just a corridor. That's, like, okay, I wouldn't have such a problem with this, but the map design is just a corridor. A corridor after another corridor.
It's coming out now.
You walk,
back rooms.
You run, you fight, you run, you fight, you run, you fight. There's a cutscene, and then you run and fight, and run and fight, and then there's another cutscene, you run and fight, and that's just the whole thing over and over again.
But
and,
Keith,
like,
you must be exaggerating. Surely this expansive.
I am not exaggerating. This is it.
This is sweeping story.
This is it. This is the loop of the game, right? And I wouldn't, like, I think people compare 13 to stuff like 10. Oh, like 10, Final Fantasy 10 was, like, really linear, but it's like, yeah, but, like, it established, like, 10's premise was very strong, and you still had, like, in Final Fantasy 10, you're on a pilgrimage, you know, like a holy pilgrimage, so you're, like, you know, you go to, like, towns and temples and stuff, and when you get to these places, it's like, the adventure kind of, like, the journey stops, and you just get to, like, soak in the atmosphere, right? Like, 10 has, like, such a strong identity for, like, an early PS2 game. As a Final Fantasy game, it has a very, very strong identity. So it has such a... So, my issue... Let me get my words
Yeah,
together.
well, actually, you just got me thinking. I think it's interesting, isn't it, how, like, Final Fantasy 13 seems to forget that, like, the, probably, like, the biggest character, the thing that people are drawn to most in these games, is, like, the world of
Yes.
Final Fantasy. It's
Yeah.
the shared world building. You always get, like, you know, people like Midgar, you know? Midgar
Yeah.
is, like, a character in and of itself.
Yeah.
That's the stuff people like. People like the worlds that these characters inhabit and how they relate to that world. But, you know, that needs to be emboldened by, dare I say it, some Ludo narrative synchronicity.
Yeah.
You know?
I think
There needs to be...
It's a pretentious term, but it is kind of accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, my biggest gripe about games like this, like the whole, like, the linear approach or the cinematic approach to storytelling in video games, is that they forget that they are video games and that you can tell so much of your game's narrative through the story. Through the mechanics of the game, right? Like, and there's just loads of moments in 10, without kind of getting, you know, too much into it, like, where a lot of these elements all kind of, like, mesh together into the whole, and it just works so well.
It becomes a, what's the word, a Gesamt Kunstwerk? Oh, I said it, I did it. I'm intelligent now.
Oh my god. I was like reminiscing the other day about like, I know that there are locations in 13, but I don't know anything about them. And like, there's this interesting scene. It's like when Lightning and Fang are talking to each other, like for the first time. They're having a bit of a one-to-one. It's when Fang, I get spoilers, I guess, for 13. Not like anyone gives a shit.
Who the fuck would actually be butthurt about spoilers, you know, to do with Final Fantasy 13 in the year, the Lord's good year 2020? Who is that person?
Absolutely no one, but you've got to cover yourself, I guess.
There's some child out there that's been dying to play it all this time, that game they remember. Their idol Leona Lewis making a song for. Christ.
Oh, God. No, guys, you can't spoil any part of the story. It's so special. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, right, I'll just get into. Okay, so Fang and Lightning are talking to each other, and they're all like, Fang's all like, "I'm from Pulse," and she has like an Aussie voice. She's like, I don't know how to do an Aussie voice, but she says like, you know, "I'm from Pulse, that world you all hate so much, you're all afraid of." And then Lightning kind of pulls a face like, you know, "You're from Pulse, you're an enemy of Cocoon." And it's all like, "Oh yeah, but you know, when we're in Pulse, they're all like, them vipers from Cocoon," and it's like, the fuck are you two talking about? Like, I don't like the only emotion that the people of Cocoon, and that's like, we've only been in Cocoon, we haven't even seen Pulse at this point, so I have no fucking clue what Pulse is like. I presume it's down under, and that's why they've all got like Australian voices or some shit. I don't know. So we haven't seen Pulse yet. We don't know what the deal with people from Pulse is at this point in the game. And then we know the people of Cocoon, and the people of Cocoon, the only emotion that they've expressed is fear. But there's like, there's right. If this was like, if this was a game that was structured like Final Fantasy X, you would go to like a little town somewhere, right, and like you would like talk to people.
Yeah, there'd be
and
like
you
a diegetic actual exploration of those ideas instead of just being fed it in a cutscene.
Like a music, like the music, like a tone, an atmosphere, something to like just soak in, like all of this stuff. It's like, it's information. You just soak it in, and you like digest it, and you kind of understand what it all means, right? Like the first the first few hours of like 10, you know, you're like at Besaid Island. And Besaid Island has like this nice little quiet, like tranquil kind of song in the background. You know, it's like the first few hours of that game are like quite turbulent. Like, Sin just keeps showing up and, like, fucking your shit up. You get to this island, and it's like, this island is, like, basically untouched by Sin. Sin doesn't come to this island and fuck shit up, right? And then it's like, and then you go to like the next island over, which is Kilika. And before you even get to Kilika, like Sin shows up and like just fucking tsunamis it. So like Kilika is fucked, except for the temples. And then like that kind of makes you start wondering like, like why doesn't Sin go by near, like why doesn't Sin attack any of the temples, or like the Blitzball Stadium? Like why doesn't he do any of that?
Yeah.
And you learn this stuff like not like you learn this like through the NPCs, like, and you learn like what they're struggling with and the sadness they're dealing with, and it kind of you soak it all in, and you kind of get a sense of what is going on in the world. Like, how is Sin affecting these people, and why is he like the antagonist? You know, why should I be fearing him? You know, or it, I guess.
Yeah. It's player exploration, isn't it? It's like when the Black Mage Village and everything with the people with Vivi, you could have an NPC come along and scream at Vivi, "You are a toy! You are a plaything! You were made up for Black Mage Factory!" Or you can go around the Black Mage Village and you're like, "Hey up, they're making more of them.
Yeah,
I think Vivi, I think you're a construct." And then you have it. Yeah.
I was going to use that example. I was literally going to use that example.
Yeah.
From Final Fantasy IX, because that's an excellent moment that shows that some nuance and actually letting the player be compliant in the idea in the story can go a long way to making it, you know, actually feel like a part of the game.
It is just that little thing. Even though it's still, you're not actively taking part in the gameplay, this is what video games allow you to do. They allow you to explore the worlds in them at your own pace, to go off the beaten track, or even if it's not actively being presented to you, you have to seek it out. Even if it's simply move character, go up, you get a text box. It's that participatory feeling, and what I'm sensing here is Final Fantasy 13 is just, there are no towns to explore. It's a straight line, so you're effectively being fed what you're being told without an exploration to see, well, why are these people like this? Screw it, we're going to tell you why.
Yeah, like everything I'm learning about the world is through like the main characters, the ones who actually have like a speaking role or any stake in the story, and it feels very unnatural for any of these characters to be saying the things that they are saying, to be contemplating the things that they're contemplating, because it's like these like there just isn't enough abundance of information to take in. I'm limited to what I can take in about the world, so I'm inferring a lot of things. And I think, I mean, well, at this stage, it's like there isn't really a whole lot to infer. I still don't understand why people of Cocoon fear the people of Pulse and vice versa. I don't understand what their beef is. So, like, that's, like, totally lost on me. So I don't understand, like, all I just keep hearing over and over again is like, "I'm a lassie, a enemy of Cocoon, ah!"
I'll tell you why. It's because the people of Pulse like the werehog sections.
Oh, no. It's all been obliterated now, that's it.
Is that what it's about? Is that what this is about?
That's what this is about. They like the werehog sections, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
Which is true, but anyway.
Yeah. But you get like, if like, okay, because like the moment you get to Palamporum, which is one of the towns in the game, like, it would be nice if there was like, because like the moment you get in there, it's like you're immediately like detected by the soldier guys, and they want to like, you know, kill you because you're in the sea. Like, it would be cool if like you actually had a few moments, a bit of quiet to like explore Palamporum and like talk to people and understand what the deal was. Like, why do they like fear people of Pulse so much?
Well, it's interesting because I think Final Fantasy 13 sort of exemplifies and reaffirms to us that like a narrative, especially in games, you know, it's kind of like the things that happen are often just as relevant in terms of pacing as the things that don't happen.
Yes.
If that makes sense, it's the moments wherein the plot is not advancing and doesn't need to constantly be, you know, progress isn't always being made in the most typical sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
There needs to be moments wherein You know, the narrative is giving room to the gameplay to breathe and letting the player take things at their own pace. There needs to be like that understanding of like the ebb and flow of a story, that, you know, events can't just keep happening rapid fire, which is kind of the way you're describing it. I think that's like the impression I'm getting, and that's like the vague memory I have from having played it when it came out.
That's basically what I remember. The entire thing just kept railroading you like a really bad dungeon master for the entire fucking thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a pretty good way of putting it. It's like, imagine if like you're playing D&D and like the dungeon master like okay, like maybe you get to do like maybe like one bout of combat, or you take like maybe like one of like the way that it would be broken up is like you would take one turn, and then like the dungeon master would just be like, okay, right, so that failed, and then you went on and did this, and then did that, and then this is what's going on in the story. Oh, here's this little thing about the world. I'm gonna just go like, exposit all of this right now. Okay, now it's your turn.
And then it's like you see a door on your left and a door in front of you. I go through the door on my left. You can't open the door. I turn around.
But thou must!
There is no door on the left. There is no door on the right. You can't go backwards. Only forward. Welcome to the corridor.
Also, one thing that fucked me off to no end that you forgot about the combat was how enemies have area of effect attacks, but you can't position your characters. So they will just wander around, and I remember there was one where you just have Hope and Lightning in the party, and holy shit, not only does like every mook insist on taking 4, 5, maybe like 10 fucking minutes if you're unlucky, but some of the fucking boss fights, you have to wait for them to piss out of the way if you want to get any damage done at any reasonable fucking speed. Like, holy shit, at least in 10-2, that worked to your advantage, because the Tonberries would slowly waddle towards you to give you a Liverpool kiss in the kidneys, but you could like keep attacking them to stun them, and they'd be like, what am I doing?
I think, 10-2 at least had like agency in like, and like you could approach the experience however you really want to. Like, it gave you a lot of parameters in what you wanted to do. Like, the one thing I really like about 10-2 is, as a sequel to 10, it's like, from, like, after, like, the first hour of the game, it's like, go fucking anywhere you like. Because if you've already played the first game, you already know what this world has. And you want, and surely, if you're, like, an excited 10 player, you want to see, like, how this, like, world has, like, changed in, like, the 2 years since, like, you know, of the Eternal Calm. So it's like, you get to just go everywhere. Like, you get, like the airship menu, and there's, like, hotspots, which are, like, the places you need to go to, like, continue the main quest. But you can literally go anywhere, and it'll trigger, like, a cutscene. You can go talk to people, and you can just learn. You can just, like, learn everything you want to know.
Oh yeah, that initial section in 10-2 was absolutely wonderful to go through, although it did warn you away from certain areas with the difficulty stars, because if you try to do a 4 or 5 star one, you just get fucked.
Yeah, but I kind of enjoyed, like, the kind of carrot on the stick of that, the whole, like, there might be something in it if I get good at the game, if I go off and grind a little bit, you know.
And there always was. It was definitely worth doing that if you wanted an easier time. And exploring was important if you didn't want to get hit with the emotional beat stick of getting less than 75% completion.
Yeah. I mean, that was the double-edged sword of the experience, was that the whole multiple endings. And, like, you know, like, everyone wants to get, like, 100%, because everyone wants to see the perfect happy ending where Tidus comes back, you know, your parents come alive, your dog comes home, but that, you know, just that doesn't happen if you miss, like, one cutscene. I kind of hated that. I hated that, like, the progression, like, if you look at a walkthrough for 10-2, it's like, go here, trigger this, like, cutscene, congratulations, you've earned, like, 0.3 of a percentage towards your entire, like, 100% run.
I think there was something really stupid in the very beginning where if the brother, the airship pilot, there's a 1.6% completion value cutscene where you just have to walk over and comfort him.
Yes.
And
yeah.
And it's like, what the fuck? That can fuck your playthrough right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I didn't want to go near him because he's a weird pervert.
Yeah. Brother was weird. So, yeah, 13 hours into Final Fantasy 13, and I don't understand the appeal of it.
You know,
We got a lot out of Final Fantasy 13, though. We did.
We got the whole
did.
trilogy, and then we got 13 verses that turned into Final Fantasy 15, the barren wasteland of no content that it is.
Oh no, I mean like us in particular. Right now, we got a lot out of it so far, and I think there's a value in that. There's a value in the the media that is like profoundly bad, not only in itself but in the context of its existence. That is is interesting.
And I managed to grow this huge pile of salt.
And the question we haven't answered, I still haven't answered. Maybe I will after I've actually finished it. Is I still don't understand why people like it, or I don't understand why people like these characters.
They don't. They lie to themselves.
I don't want to assume. I'm not an assumer.
Oh, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming.
The assumer gets most of his exam questions right just because.
So in terms of that topic, that's a to be continued. Go watch my backlog for more when it comes out.
It's not coming out.
Fuck.
It better come out.
I'm putting you on blast so that you actually feel inclined to finish it.
Yeah, no.
You better finish Final Fantasy 13, the backlog, or it'll be like Final Fantasy 15, the backlog, because it's not finished.
Fuck. Alright. But I just to end that on, my hopes for the ending of 13 is that Lightning turns to face the camera and says, in the end, we were the Final Fantasy 13.
She said the Final Fantasy was the friends we made along the way.
I was about to say. Oh my god.
And Leona Lewis plays in the background.
No, I'm looking forward to you finishing it because, like, just speaking from someone who's talked to you during your odyssey in this game, it's been a bit of a roller coaster. It's been a bit up and down.
It's just been down.
Well, yeah, it's more been like a tragic death spiral, but yeah.
It's like a train full of orphans flying off a bridge into a vet. It's just tragedy all around.
Yeah. Okay. Who wants to go next?
I've got one, and it's real simple, and it probably won't take nearly quite as long as that little excursion, but my most prominent example, and it's something I think of quite often, is Jet Set Radio. I love it, but I hate it. And the reason is because, as anyone can attest, it's got some of the most strong, powerful aesthetic qualities, but I just can't reconcile the fact that I think it's kind of a shit game. And that's a big tragedy for me. It always frustrates me when I find media, especially in games. This is more related to games because they're, such a synthesis of like loads of different facets. But like, when I find media that I feel like has one element that is so incredibly strong, but just does not seem to come together as an entire sum.
Oh,
and
come
that's
on,
just,
you want to use the word.
It doesn't quite get elevated to the lofty heights of Gesamt Kunstwerk, Dark Souls style.
And it's more of a guess my cunt doesn't work,
But it's always frustrated me because I was drawn to that game. Being an artist, I thought there was quite a lot of stuff to take from it. That made sense. A lot of inspiration to draw from it.
I mean, and the musician.
It's real interesting. Yeah, and the music. Just in general, as an aesthetic experience, it's stellar. It's incredibly rich. It's got an excellent theme. It's incredibly well executed. But when I play it, I just can't help but feel, man, it's got terrible game feel. It's real floaty. It's not particularly, not particularly deep or interesting. Doesn't seem to be that much mechanical skill involved compared to more like typical like Sims of skating or whatever.
Just compared to The Sims.
Yeah. It just seems like I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe all the people who grew up with it just know better than I. But it just seems like it's the sort of game that people look back on fondly as a game mechanically because they played it at the right time. That's sad to me because I want to love it. I want it to be excellent and the best game ever because it immediately hits me with the way it feels, the impression it gives. But then the truth is that it's just kind of shit, I think.
I got two things to say on that. Okay, like,
go on.
so the first thing is, like, when I hear people say stuff like that, like, it worries me because, you know, like, my first thought is like, what? Like, no, Jet Set Radio is fantastic, but I haven't played Jet Set Radio in years, like, not since I was a kid. So there is, like, when people say it, like, knee-jerk is like, how dare you? But, like, rationally, it's like, maybe it is shit. And, like, there's always that anxiety of, like, oh no, if I go back and play it, am I going to find out that it's shit?
Yeah,
which is...
This worries me all the time.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess that's kind of normal. So, like, it's like, I can't really comment on the quality of the game itself. Because I haven't played it in years, but now I probably should at some point.
I'd be intrigued to know what other people think of it, you know, playing it now, because I had kind of a weird experience playing it first. I played it for the first time on the PS Vita, of all consoles,
My.
which was not really conducive, and I kind of just chalked up my initial experience to the hardware. And then recently, in the last few months, I played it again briefly on Steam, just to, you know, on PC with a pad that I like, got real comfy with my gamer fuel, and you know, my frown did not turn upside down. In fact, it was still kind of shit.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just didn't hit me as a particularly fun game to play, and that's always a big sad when the game seems to have had so much love and soul, and you can appreciate why people like it. This is a case of something I can't get into, but appreciate the appeal of. Which, I don't know. I don't really have any more, like, thorough thoughts on it. It's just always bothered me. And there's some other media that's similar, where and I even struggle with this myself as someone who, like, makes things. Sometimes I just feel like there's an element of my own work even that's, like, so strong, but the rest of it just doesn't, you know, I don't know. It's a weird thought, but I like the way Jet Set Radio looks. It's pretty based. That's all I have to say.
Oh, speaking of gamer fuel, do you want to talk about this week's sponsor, Capsules?
Oh, yeah,
oh, shit.
I'm coming to you live from the Capsules Incorporated studio basement, and we've all been hooked up to IV drips full of of Capsule brand secret fluid, and
I think mine's Ultra Black.
Yeah, there'll be a link in the description to our Capsules Incorporated affiliate link. But are there any other media that you guys think has a great immediacy of one of its elements in how it appeals to you, but you just can't seem to get into, based on the other elements, you know, the other elements in the synthesis of its overall whole?
Is it okay if I mention something I couldn't get into for a long time, but eventually did?
Yeah, go for it. That's a good way to take it, actually, because I've got another example in a bit for something similar.
Alright, my mom just walked home one day when I was like 13 and was like, here you fucking go, and just basically hit me with the copy of Demon Souls, the Black Phantom edition, after it was released here in the West. And I couldn't get past the first level for 2 years because I was a fucking scrub. This was nearly daily attempts, and then one day I just put it down, came back a year later and breezed through the entire game, except for the Storm King, who for some reason perplexed me, because I didn't find the Storm Ruler sword. I thought that was my reward after I did the fight.
Yeah, I did it the same. I didn't pick up the Storm Ruler until afterwards. I was a buffoon as well.
I used a bow in the corner because I'm a little shit.
Yeah, same. I thought, like, man, that's really weird the way they expect you to have, like, 700 arrows.
Yeah, and then I watched the speedrun and I was like, wow, they just don't even play the level.
Oh my god!
Like they just do they don't even do the fat guy who kills you in the tutorial. They just do like the adjudicator and then straight to Storm King.
It's pretty weird, to be fair, though. It's a big like jarring contrast in what you're expected to do mechanically, considering that, like, that level, that entire string of levels, the Shrine of Storms, is so, it's so, like, mechanical and, like, actually, like, really hard. And then, actually, no, I'm talking myself out at this point, because the boss before, the old hero, does kind of have a gimmick as well, I guess.
I mean, he's easy as fuck if you have the Thieves' Ring, but the Grim Reapers can suck my dick. They fucked me off as well.
I feel like those levels kind of gear you up for the most challenging overall, challenge. And then the Storm King is all the archdemons, the end bosses of each area in Demon Souls kind of subvert expectations, but that one in particular, I feel like it's not brilliantly like apparent as to how it relates to anything else that you've been like leading up to. It's really strange, and I'm just trying to cover the fact that I was really stupid and went and bought 1,000 arrows to beat it.
I mean, that's one of the easiest strats if you don't want to have to deal with all the little Storm Kings flying around.
The Storm Princes.
The fucking Storm cunts. I hate them. If you don't have the Thief Ring, they can shoot you while you're crossing the cliffside. And while fighting the Golden Skeletons, that was not fun.
It's not okay. But Tibor, you've been particularly silent. Any media on this topic you can think of?
Let's see. Things I can't get into. There's fighting games which I admire on a mechanical level, because my memory is abysmal and most of my fighting prowess is based on reaction and reduced weapon set. So like Sekiro is my absolute darling, love the game, but fighting games just elude me entirely. There is something I can't deal with that, and I admire it. But there's something I don't think that appeals too much, because you play them to perfect them to play against other people. No one really prides themselves on, I can beat the AI on this difficulty. So, no, really. There's not much as far as gaming goes, because most of the stuff I've really wanted to get into, I've slammed my head to get good at it. My Dark Souls playtime is abysmally long because of the length it taken me to surmount it. But I wanted to, and I smashed my head through the brick wall and got through it. It was a Herculean feat, Disney Herculean, because I literally did it, ran through Anor Londo repeatedly until I could parry every single Silver Knight flawlessly while playing in 15 to 24 FPS and listening to the Disney Hercules song One Last Hope.
Not I Can Do the Distance.
That as well, but, you're my one last hope. Gotta learn the ropes. And, it's great because it's showing Hercules going through the ropes. At first, I couldn't even parry anything. I was just going through, and then it was like, yeah, you got it. And then Ornstein and Smaug land in front of me, and I felt a right tit because everything I learned was just completely bloody pointless. But it was good, and that was one thing I wanted to surmount. And I did it because if you're not too quick on the uptake learning-wise, you learn that if you want to do something, you're just going to have to smash your head until you come through the brick wall. It's the inevitability of it. Just do it. Keep smashing your head. You'll get there. And Dark Souls was that. I gave it a go. Did the bugger.
I had a similar experience to you and Harry, really, when I first played Demon Souls, which was my entry point into the series as well, but I played it a lot later, and I had the combined zeitgeist of Get Good weighing on my shoulders, and I felt so frustrated at the fact that I couldn't seem to get into it. It felt like a badge of honor not earned on my Scout's uniform, So that was a success story in the end. I got into that. It took quite a lot of time, and it makes me think when I think of that, relating it to my Jet Set Radio point, like how long would it take me to get into some of this media, and then you've got to weigh that against like how much would you get out of it as well. I mean, like, if you played Final Fantasy 13 for, you know, like, a year, you just played it on repeat, so for some reason, something possessed you, there might be some chance that you would, you'd enlighten yourself and gain some appreciation or understanding of things that, like, other people don't seem to get. So I think there's probably a way to appreciate the appeal of everything, but, like, I don't know, sometimes you just gotta weigh, haven't you? Does it feel worth it?
Is this worth my time investment? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, saying that, Final Fantasy 13 literally, scientifically, and factually does not have an appeal, so...
Yeah. I thought there was a study done in the University of Cambridge that determined that Final Fantasy 13 is actually a waste of human life. That the combination of hours that people have played that game, 13 million lives, in fact, well, that number again, have been lost to playing 13.
Do that in your Jordan Peterson voice.
I heard that Tetsuya Nomura has actually been court-martialed and that he's going to be tried for war crimes because of his involvement. 13
million, that's more than Corona.
That is.
Demonetized.
Can you bleep that out?
Can you censor that, please, boss?
13 million? Wow, Jim, can we check? Can you look that up?
I'm not gonna censor anything. I've decided.
Oh,
check.
No. Is it time to cash in my end?
We're gonna have to do a Joe Rogan on this. Sales, Final Fantasy 13. Right.
7.7 million for the first game.
Yeah. The series.
What about the rest of them?
Holy shit.
What, for the rest in the trilogy?
Yeah, it is 11 million copies. So it really petered out after the first one.
Yeah. It goes 7.7.
Yeah.
Then 3.6 million for 2, and then 1.2 million for Lightning Returns.
How did you get those numbers so quick?
I've had them open the whole podcast. I've been waiting.
You've been waiting to dispense that bit.
Yeah, I was waiting. I was going to bring it up earlier, but you were so emphatically just disavowing Final Fantasy 13 as a useful creation. So I thought, I'm just going to leave him to it.
This is right, and kind of getting back to more of the topic. It's it annoy I kind of like what you were saying before. I think everything does have its appeal, and I think when you grow older, you have limited time to spend on things, so you become quite cynical and jaded in what you choose to spend your time with. That's when you're older, that's when you start kind of looking at things and going, oh well, I don't have time for that. I don't, realistically, I don't have the time or energy or the effort to invest in this, so it's a waste of time. I'm not going to do that. Which I don't like to look at things that way, but obviously that just becomes the reality of it. I just don't have the time. Same for everyone else, I'm sure. But it's but that doesn't disavow that these things do have an appeal, right? And look at 11 million is still a lot for an entire for the a series of 3 games to sell, right? Especially the first one. And, maybe you say, oh, maybe that was just hype or what have you. But the fact that I still see every now and again someone saying that, 13 was good, or, its story was good, something, that's telling me that, it does have an appeal. And it's I want to understand your rationale. I want to understand what you're saying. What you're expressing is the, like I said, this shit keeps me up at night. I just want to know. Just want to know.
It's interesting you say that, because you got me thinking a little bit about I was thinking this. It's very speculative and not really an actual point, but it's just interesting to think about the idea that Final Fantasy 13, all of its games, the common cultural, the wider cultural consensus opinion is that they're kind of shit, and that's fine. But all of that stuff is based on, how long has it been since it came out? Was it 2009? Yeah. So it's been out for 11 years.
Well, 10 in the West, but yeah.
Yeah. So it's been out for 10 years. That's a very small slice of the amount of time this game will be out for.
Yeah.
And if this makes sense, it's sort of the idea that we have preconceived notions of what even, the conventions of what a good game is.
Yeah.
And there's always the possibility that can't be discounted that in like 50 years, this might end up actually exemplifying a more traditionally, conventionally good game. There might just be different standards that we just we haven't like coalesced an opinion on as of yet. And it got me thinking about like, to relate it back to Demon's Souls, that was a game that was actually considered by a lot of like industry people to not really have much of a core appeal, and was considered to be a failure. And of course that didn't end up being a failure, and there's all the merits that people have talked about ad nauseum, but like it just goes to show that like in some amount of time there might be a situation that arises via some conflux of all different ideas about games and media and what we think is good and what productive and stuff like that. Like maybe Final Fantasy 13 may be considered good in the future. That would be a bizarre situation, but it could happen.
I have a feeling that won't be the case, because usually counterculture syndrome kicks in way earlier than 10 years. And there has been no such, like, about face.
That's true.
There hasn't been, there hasn't been that mass turnover. I've noticed that as well. There hasn't been that mass turnover of people suddenly saying that 13 is actually a brilliant game. I haven't seen that.
Or even passable.
But there is still, like, a small section of people, and it's just, like, for those small section of people, it's like, hey, I don't want to, like, disavow you and the things that you choose to enjoy, but I need to understand what your rationale for enjoying it is, so I can at least appreciate why someone likes something, even if I don't get it myself, because...
I mean, my guess would be they like it because of all the brain damage from eating crayons. No, I'm kidding.
Stop projecting.
It's like with everything, like everything else in the world, I guess. Like when someone, like we like, I don't want to be like one of these people who just goes like, I don't know, like, oh, like, okay, like, I don't know. Is this too serious? If I talk about school shooters, as an example.
Go for it.
Oh my god! Okay, do it. Fucking do it.
I feel I could have come up. Okay, but like, okay, right. So I don't like it when people take the whole like school shooters thing, and just like boil it down to, like angry white video gamer guy who's played too many video games. That's all you need to know. That's why he did the thing. Like, case closed. Everyone move on with their lives, and maybe put some restrictions on the sales of video games or whatever.
Because you feel attacked.
Or guns. But don't do anything about guns, and don't try and do anything about mental health. These had absolutely nothing to do with it, whatsoever. And yet, like, if you believe that, then every day of your life when a school shooting happens, you're just wondering, like, why? Why does it happen? I need to know. And you'll never get an answer because people will never, like, the shooter or people, who feel in those situations will never get their opportunity to explain the why, what are, like, the systemic issues that lead to that happening. Which, of course, like, I mean... That was totally hypothetical, because of course we do understand that there are systemic issues and that do contribute to that. So to bring it back to 13, what are the systemic issues that lead to people liking fucking shit?
The systemic issues leading to people school shooters playing Final Fantasy 13.
Yeah, it's valuable to, like, you always need to foster, well, I don't know, this is sounding a bit weird, actually, the way I'm saying it, but you need to foster a sense in people that, like, they should know why they think things, because there's no reasonable way to make, like, better progress on things, make things better, understand why things were bad, like, understand, like, a greater context, I guess. And that does relate to, like, media as well as real life, current affairs, all sorts, really. It's like a good attitude to have, I suppose.
Yeah.
I guess we're all just really big-brained and we just know better than everyone else does.
Totes.
No, we probably rag on people who like Final Fantasy 13 a little bit too much. I'm sure there are video essays out there somewhere that we just haven't seen because they're buried under the mighty YouTube fist of Susan Wachowski or whatever her name is.
I'm looking at Mike Wachowski, I think you'll find.
Oh, no, there we go.
Wazowski, I can't remember.
I'm buried under the mighty fist of Mike Wazowski.
I just want I just want to take the hand of someone who really is passionate about 13 and be like, hey, it's okay. There's Final Fantasy X. It's even better.
Okay, this is interesting, because I've actually just typed in why Final Fantasy 13 is good into YouTube, expecting to find some of those video essays.
Oh, yeah.
But,
oh, no.
The only result with a title even remotely similar is Final Fantasy really that bad?
Oh, wow.
So that should tell us something about just how thorough the consensus opinion on Final Fantasy 13 is.
Or how powerful the fist of Mike Wazowski is.
Ooh, I've just read something interesting.
Is it that Final Fantasy 13 actually causes school shooters?
Yes. No.
I fucking knew it.
You said it. You said yes. That no is getting censored.
Shit.
That's a Mario coin effect now. That's you adding money to your yes.
Oh my god. No. What it was that I was reading. So there's a little section on Wikipedia for 13. It's just like response to criticism.
Oh no.
And hang on, I've got to make sure I'm getting the right.
Do you want to read it out?
Yeah. I'll read this bit to you because it's kind of right. These reviewers were used to games in which the player was given an open world to explore. He said, sorry, this is the director. Wait, is it the director? Yeah,
the director and noted war criminal
Motomo Toriyama. Sorry. These reviewers were used to games in which the player was given an open world to explore. He said, noting that this expectation contrasted with the vision that the team set out to create. He noted that it becomes very difficult to tell a compelling story when you're given that much freedom. Yoshinori Katase stated that they didn't really intend to work within the RPG template, but wanted to create a new game, even a new genre. He stated that in a lot of senses, Final Fantasy XIII is more like an FPS than an RPG.
What the hell? Can we just confirm that the people working on these games are differently abled?
Oh, is this the world's first Strand game? You pretentious wankers.
I mean, I've kind of seen that attitude echoed elsewhere in the whole Final Fantasy franchise. So it doesn't surprise me, but it's it is just kind of a pretentious thing to say. It's you're making an RPG, it's framed as such, and pretending that it's not that, or that. Yeah, no, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I'm reading a Steam post right now, one of the only legitimately positive explanations of someone's opinions.
Oh, here we go.
On Final Fantasy 13. If you want me to read a snippet, it's from 6 years ago, so I doubt it's
Go ahead.
So I'm gonna read this little bit because I think it will annoy you guys. Right. So the combat system isn't exactly amazing, but hell, neither are any of the others. FF12 plays itself. FF 1 through 10 are just press X, much like people say about this game. Little strategy needed there beyond grinding and then just using powerful attacks to kill an enemy, so gameplay, no. As for linear, well heck, besides Final Fantasy XII, most of the others are as well. Airships driving around the world does not make the game non-linear. That happens here as well. Just like all FFs, you need to progress down a path. Oh no!
Oh wow!
This person.
Oh, hang on. There's an even better bit. Wait there.
Fuck.
You'll like this. I really like Lightning. I find her interesting, cool. Oh, interesting, cool. She pulls off sexy without dressing like a heart. I assume that's censoring slut. and she's believably strong. Most female protags in games go for either mage/archer delicate flower types, who are strong because of their caring nature, or something, okay? Lightning comes off as a strong person, a fighter, without being masculine like most devs do. She doesn't talk like a man, walk or act like a man, she acts like a woman, but one with a clear purpose and strength.
Is this review written by Anita Sarkeesian?
Is this review written by someone who worked on the game, doing damage control?
Oh, it might have been.
I believe that. You know what? Because like when they announced Lightning Returns, they had this whole like conference, this stage conference where all of the developers came on, and like each of them were like, "Oh, Lightning, she's beautiful like Rose. Oh, Lightning, she's beautiful like the crystals in the games." And it's like they just
Hang on, you guys will love this. This little excerpt. Saz is funny, horribly racist, but funny because of that. That's all he says about that character.
Oh my god.
That's all he says about that character.
I like Saz because of the little chocobo in his hair.
I like Saz because he's actually a compelling character, one of the few in the game, not because he's a racial stereotype.
Yeah, no, I like Saz as well. Saz is a pretty cool guy.
Oh my god.
I love how wasn't the plot of Lightning Returns that they took all of her emotions away and people didn't notice the character change?
Yes.
They just took her, gave her the MMR, and no one noticed that she now completely lacked emotion.
Well, fuck, I think like Lightning is just doing a Chunibyo bit throughout the entire game.
Oh my god, just put her in Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions and she actually wouldn't stand out.
She is, though, like the whole, I take on the name of Lightning because our parents are dead and I need to be a strong person for Sarah, and it's like...
See, at least
right, but you know, Claire Farron isn't actually a bad name at all, and you could still be a strong person and be Claire Farron.
Yeah.
Calling yourself Lightning is just you
edgy.
Fucking... It's just edgy Chunibyo-ness.
It's not even as...
Have you
it's
noticed?
not...
The delusion of grandeur, you know.
Have you noticed how we were off to a pretty reasonable discussion, just talking about, like, how we wanted to understand the appeal of this game, and we have just... the sheer gravitas of how bad it is has just dragged us down to just spitting bile at it.
Yeah,
like, to the point where I basically just put some randomer on blast and read part of his genuine opinions about the game.
Yeah.
I know, it's like an intrinsic property of the universe that any discussion about Final Fantasy XIII will inevitably lead to shit flinging.
It's like entropy.
God damn.
Yeah. Oh, also, Lightning calling herself Lightning was edgy, but not even in the cool way, like when Raiden did it in Metal Gear Solid 4. I am Lightning, the rain transformed.
Based.
Oh, God.
Love it to bits.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like,
right.
Lightning is just Chunibyo. She just, like, has, like, the symptomatic, like, delusions of grandeur. That by changing her name and the way, like, she, like, chooses to identify, it's like, I've become this, like, strong, badass, like, soldier who protects my sister and
teleports behind you. Nothing personal, kid.
Yeah.
Nothing personnel, kid.
It's like,
Shadow the HR
it's like you can find the opening of the game for this where she's just like, gravity jumps behind you, nothing personnel, and she just like lets loose on her machine gun.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
Right, yeah, we have ragged on Final Fantasy XIII for like an hour, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Just
So
another
that was
13, just another 12 more hours and we're there.
So,
my God.
so that first topic was ragging on 13.
The musical.
Yeah, pretty much. Do we want to move on? Do we want to do our biggest gaming achievements?
Yes.
Yes, but can
Okay.
I go piss first? Can we call this the ad break?
No, you cannot.
You're actually not allowed to piss unless it's in a bottle and is audible on the mic.
You're pissing yourself!
This isn't
Pissing yourself!
This isn't school. You don't ask, can I go for a piss? You say, I'm going for a piss. Assert yourself. You're a strong, independent man who don't need no piss bottle or piss permission.
Right, I'm pissing right now. Fuck you.
Just
Fuck
T-pose
off,
at the teacher when they tell you you can't piss. Or do what I did and just shit myself mid-class. I don't think
That's a power move.
So you play the commercials and do your whole like "Kabando ni wa oigarishimasu," whatever.
Grando sponsor, okarishimasu.
Grande sponsor, Capsule Incorporated.
Right, I guess let's just talk amongst ourselves for a moment.
Can I just say, in defense of Final Fantasy 13, if something could be so bad that we can like have hours of fun poking fun at it, that's a redeeming factor, even if it is a meta redeeming factor.
I don't know. I've never been much one for ironic enjoyment. Really, it just kind of.
It's not even enjoyment like from the product itself. It's enjoyment from poking fun at it, which I wouldn't say is ironic.
Yeah,
because ironic would be like playing
still...
Kingsfield and be like, lol, the combat's so clunky.
Yeah, there's a bit of a difference, isn't there? It's like it's the meta-contextual fun of like everything that surrounded the game, as opposed to the ironic lol, it's bad in the moment to moment, I guess.
Like Dwarf Fortress is huge for this, because the stories people will tell of Dwarf Fortress, of the one time they threw like Seth's review of Dwarf Fortress, where he put a whole bunch of fucking dwarves in a room and shot coins into their necks, hoping to make them super good at dodging, and instead just fucking eviscerated them. Or I was playing it myself years ago, and I had a dwarf give birth mid-battle, and then this baby decided to start wrestling a dragon, and somehow managed to reach Master Wrestler by the time they finally killed it. When the baby killed it, literally ripping its head off.
My god. Excellent. I want to play that. I actually do want to get into that. That's media that I'm really worried I won't be able to get into, though.
Oh, don't kick yourself if you're not able to. It doesn't really have, like, difficulty curves or difficulty steps. It has difficulty cliffs. And you have to be able to, like, rubber hose your feet 3 miles in the air and clunk down onto the fucking step. It is so egregious in its management and what it asks of the player that I highly recommend the Lazy Noob Pack. Well, everyone who plays Dwarf Fortress will recommend that you use it. Playing it vanilla is an exercise in masochism. Also, don't make sure you install, like, a graphics pack or something. Because it just comes using ASCII characters if you don't.
Yeah, I did notice that. That's one of the things that, like, I admit, as a bit... I was getting filtered, okay? That's all I've got to say. I was getting pleb filtered. It looked a bit too lo-fi for me, which is something I hate to admit, but...
Another really fun one is, like, Dungeon Crawl Stone Soup, which is, like, the same sort of Dwarf Fortress formula if you, converted it into a really fucking good RPG.
Yeah, Stone Soup's cool. I did play a bit of it. I learnt about it a few years ago, and I dipped my toe in, and I couldn't get into it big time, but I really, really liked it.
I play it, like, almost religiously. I even play it on my phone sometimes, which, as you'd imagine, is hell. But I love it anyway.
It does sound like hell.
Anyway, Cat Enchanters for the win.
Also, how long is Keeb gonna take taking a piss?
He's pissing himself!
I've got something to tell you, Jim. As you get older, it will take you longer because you have to properly and fully evacuate, or otherwise you're just going to put your hose back in your undies and then find out,
not having a drip tray in your pants, you fucking pleb.
That's true.
As if to imply I haven't already destroyed my prostate through years of overwork.
Taking absolutely Goliath shits.
Well, to be fair, as long as you actually enact your manual handling properly. Oh.
Hello, Mr. Keeb-kun?
Oh, fuck. It is hot in here.
We call him Keeb-kun, but he's doing better than all of us in life.
Alright.
Hello?
Hello, I'm here.
Hello?
You want some candies, little boy? You want some Werther's Originals?
You want some sugar-free Werther's Originals? They'll hit your prostate on the way out.
Alright.
Grim.
So, ad break finish?
Yeah. Basically. We had a really riveting conversation.
Sponsor.
Dekyo de okirishimasu. I don't know if that's correct. Omedeto okasama. Right. Biggest gaming achievements. That's our secondary core topic, and I don't know if we'll get quite as much mileage out of this one, because right off the bat we weren't as we weren't as stimulated by it. But I feel like Harry, you of all people, will definitely have some big uns.
Oh, is this my like hour to flex on you by just listing them all?
Yeah.
Well, you are the the golden god with G Fuel Ichor running through his veins. So.
Beat Disgaea D2 right up to Ball. That's
with
one of them.
With the 999 stats that reach out of the stat screen.
Oh yeah, although I think it's just like 1.8 like septatrillion or some shit by the end of it. Let's see. Every single Halo game on Legendary solo.
I find that hard to believe.
I didn't enjoy it, and I hated all of them, but I did it because I was poor and didn't have much to play at the time.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's see. Every single Souls game, including Sekiro, which, though I didn't enjoy it, I did it. Beaten. All the Souls ones minus Sekiro beaten up to their maximum New Game Plus scaling, which I think is 7 for all of them, probably less for Demon Souls. I think it was like 6.
I feel like it's like 5 or 6, but it's hard. That's all that matters. It's big boy time.
Oh, yeah.
So you still get a nice U.
Doing a one bro pants man fists only run of Dark Souls 1.
Nice.
No. Not nice.
Why does it seem like the running theme, the through line here is that they all left you with scars and trauma?
Because I was abused as a child and desperately craved more of the punishment.
Nice. It's become the norm, and now it's the only way you can get off. Anyone else got any good stories?
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
Metal Gear Solid 4, Big Boss Emblem, no New Game Plus items. And I remember that. And I did it before I owned my own PS3.
Very nice.
What I did was I borrowed the PS3 of a friend who had been grounded, and I said to his mother, I said, since he's grounded, he won't be allowed his PS3, will he? So I just borrowed his PS3 and finally got to play Metal Gear Solid 4. And I ran through it. I ran through it, and it was great. It was amazing. And I thought, shall I do it? Shall I try and go through the game without a single kill and being spotted? And I thought, yeah, alright, let's give it a go. I kind of regret that. Probably took a few years off my lifespan trying to do that, especially when you then realise that the end cutscene that is 45 minutes long actually counts towards the completion time of having to complete the game in under, I think it was about 5 hours. So then you had to actually do it in like 4 1/4, along with all the on-rails sections and everything, and you are not allowed to kill someone. My God, did that take a while, but when I did it, it was great. It wasn't my own PS3, and I don't think I set up a username at the time, which was silly, so I don't have the achievement or trophy.
It didn't have trophies at the time. They patched it fucking years later, so you gotta do it again now, which is annoying, because I had 100% complete save.
But there's
photo evidence.
There is, yes. There is a photo that I'd taken of the screen, the score and everything, Big Boss saluting, and I was like, yeah. That and God of War on God mode, that was tense. That whole fight with Ares, by the end of it, you're just there shouting along with Kratos, going, Ares! And just beating shit out of him. That was also fun. Other gaming achievements, Sekiro. I played that last year during one of the hottest British summers on record. Brain was melting. Died way more than I should have. I play it again now. I'm like, this is a lot easier when your brain's not seeping out your ears. They're all very fun, and I can safely say I did get something out of it, because this whole loops into the whole, when you're kind of a little harder learning, pretty much anything you want to surmount seems daunting, and I equate completing Sekiro, completing God of War, and Metal Gear Solid 4, I all line them up with the same level of satisfaction as I do having got my accounting qualifications, catering, counselling. They are all up there with my academic achievements because I had to smash my head. Some people can say that, well, that one isn't conducive to anything. Yeah, neither are any of the others if you don't get a job in them. They just look cool on your wall, and I can safely say that that Sword Saint Ishin trophy looks pretty damn good on my Steam page.
More important than any diploma.
Yeah, I'll just walk into my job and they'll just be like, oh, what makes you think you're qualified to work under pressure? And I'll be like, here you go, Big Boss emblem, Sword Saint Ishin, Dark Souls 3, yeah. And they'll be like, oh, well, you must be a very patient man, persistent. It's like anyone looks my 100-hour play time on Dark Souls, like, oh, you must really love it. I'm like, thick as shit, lad. But no, those are my gaming achievements, of which I'm quite proud of. There's Fire Emblem Conquest. I did that on hard. Didn't do it on Insanity. Not that much of a masochist. That was good. Yeah. No, it is just those three, those exhilarating experiences. Yeah. There is an advantage, though, to games, is that if you mess them up, the opportunity to try again isn't taken from you in a way like some forms of hobby. The opportunity to simply set up and try again is not gone. If you fail at a song, your guitar doesn't explode. You can just keep going. These are good things for the persistent. Just throw yourself at it. Any further gaming achievements, I don't particularly look at something and think, oh, that's hard, I'll give it a crack. There has to be something in the gameplay that tells me, no, it seems feasible. Yeah, something like Ninja Gaiden Black might not click with me. And this is part of the thing with like fighting games and combos. If there's too much to it, I'm like, nah, you know what, no. But that feasibility, yes, if I persist, I can do this. So that's my gaming achievements.
Just completing Ninja Gaiden in itself is a fucking achievement, even on dog mode, because it's an app. Like, those games are really fucking monstrous, and I've played all of them.
Well done.
Mostly when I do, like, challenge runs in games, or, like, do the hardest difficulty, that's when I set the fun aside for the joy of having the accomplishment at the end, which is why I usually just have, like, fucking trauma from any given playthrough. Like getting the big boss emblems on Metal Gear Solid 3, doing every possible mission that you can do with no traces on Metal Gear Solid 5, big boss on Metal Gear Solid 4. That was one of the rougher ones. You did really well there, T-Ball, because that was when the guards started to be able to see a little bit better. And when you say no new game plus items, you mean like just from a fresh new game, or new game plus but you just didn't use the bandana or the stealth camo?
Oh, it's not that. It's that sometimes you could get like a little charge gun that would charge the solar gun. Extra bullets, yeah, just by waiting, and those kind of things that might help you a little when you start running low.
Yeah.
So
sunlight.
Yeah, that's it. So you might start with extra items. None of those.
So you did the actual Chad playthrough, because the solar gun is actually really good for getting big boss rank. If I think you can use it, I haven't played it in years.
Yeah. So
I can't really think of any gaming achievements much, to be honest, because I'm a bit of a piss babby. But
soon you'll be able to say you beat Monster Hunter at World Iceborne like a god.
No, soon I'll be able to say, you beat it for me.
Look, just because I always get the damage dealer accolade doesn't mean you're not helping. You're a fine meat shield.
Yeah, I'm helping. I get the differently abled badge.
Participation badge.
Yeah, I get the E for effort. And I get a slap on the buns and get told to go on my merry way. But,
oh, you're a good boy.
I don't know, I suppose my biggest gaming achievement would be something like Well, I mean, I've beat all the Souls games, and I got the Platinum Trophy in Bloodborne. That was kind of hard, because
That one is hard.
you have
That
to
is an
engage.
achievement.
Yeah, you have to engage with the Chalice Dungeon mechanic, and the thing with that is, like, for anyone who hasn't played them, Chalice Dungeons are, like, procedurally generated. Well, some of them aren't, but, you know, like, it's like a procedural generation dungeon system that gives you theoretical infinite content, and there's some, like, actually structured ones in there as well thrown in that you have to do, like, little, sort of, like, touchstone moments, and then the rest of it's just whatever. But, yeah, as you get deeper into that, there's, like, this mechanic whereby, they can get, like, modifiers placed on the dungeon. I think it's, like, fetid, cursed, or rotten, or any combination of those. And is that right, Harry? Am I being correct there?
You are absolutely correct.
Yeah, and what those do is they have sort of like they give you like debuffs or just make things generally harder. It normally just revolves around damage dealt or taken. And there's a particular filter, like a funnel moment wherein you have to beat a boss called the Watchdog of the Old Lords, I think.
Yeah,
And,
that one's really bad.
Yeah, it's like it's got multiple debuffs on you, and it has its damage buffed. And there's this, I think there's a mechanic I read somewhere that like it's supposed to sort of even out a bit. You take a little less damage from physical attacks when there's like a combination of these debuffs on you.
That sounds nice, but I don't think it's real.
No, see, I think that is the case, but the reason it's hard is because the boss deals physical and elemental damage.
So it means nothing.
Yeah, so basically that mitigating mechanic there, I know I'm describing it kind of crap, but like just basically doesn't factor in, and it kills you in pretty much one hit almost with every single attack. If you don't have a massive HP bar, and that was a big filter moment. That was a almost came close to chucking controller sort of moment for me because it took many attempts. But yeah, I got the big coom satisfaction when I finally beat it. So, I mean, I persevered there. But apart from that,
you just have mild PTSD from it.
Yeah, I just wake up in a cold sweat, screaming, covered in all of my own bodily fluids every single night from doing it. But like, still, it wasn't that hard.
The only good thing about the Chalice dungeons is the hacked ones done by, I think, Zolly the Witch, and they let you get access to weapons that you shouldn't have way earlier, so you can diversify your build.
I have heard about those.
Don't do them on a first playthrough. Do them on a second playthrough.
Yeah, but
I think they're called reverse Chalice dungeons.
I don't know. I agree with Tibor though as well. Like Ishin, that was a big moment. That was a really, really, really big moment. That was one of the few moments recently playing a quote unquote hard game that legitimately made me feel like, fuck, I don't know if I'll actually beat this.
Like the Sword Saint version with like 3 health bars, the spear and the gun, right?
Yes. Because it's like demoralizingly hard at first, I find. It really is, but I don't know. The great thing about the Souls games is, even though people decry it, since there's that whole wider cultural zeitgeist of get good, you kind of feel like pressured to do it, almost just because you don't want to look like a piss babby. And that kind of, I need that sometimes to actually ever finish a game.
It's also to meet it on its terms, isn't it, really? To understand that there can be a bit of, there's something wrong with this game, and yeah, grab boxes can go do one. But for the most part, it is refined, and the whole get good kind of just makes you accept, just meet it on its terms. Understand that the problem is you, it's giving you the tools, just do it. It is there. Success is there. Go get it.
Yeah, a certain amount of that attitude is good.
It
like,
is.
I understand why it's, generally kind of can be detrimental and a bit toxic and stuff, but like a certain amount of that attitude can go a long way to making a player feel like, man, I kind of want to do it for that cred, because sometimes, that like the guise of getting cred like will lead you to getting something a lot more. You'll get a way more enriching experience that you might not have known that you would have gotten.
Led me to
if that makes sense.
Buying the game.
But Keeb, have you got any big gaming achievements apart from actually playing 13?
I mean, here's the thing, and it does kind of factor into that. So,
oh no,
off the top of my head, right? I can't think of anything as impressive as, I mean, I'm still going through Sekiro, I've got it stopped. I'll get back to it. I'll probably go back and like start all over again and probably just like
Filtered.
clear.
Yeah, no, when your head's clear, trust me.
Yeah, I think when your head's like clear, if you spend some time away from it, but you kind of you get down the basics and you can like remember some things, like you kind of like there's a kind of magic that happens and you just sort of like clear like those early levels like a lot easier. And so yeah, no, I think I'll be able to go back and I think I got to the monkey fight.
Guardian
You
Ape.
got a fair way then.
Yeah. I forget what that monkey is called.
Yeah,
The Guardian Ape.
Genichiro.
Guardian Ape. He dies and he comes back and he's like, yeah, Genichiro was like absolutely. Oh, I was like,
yeah. He's the Ornstein.
Yeah.
He is that hump that once you get over it, you're like, oh shit, I'm starting to get a hang of this game. And then the monkey happens and it's back like bit to Dark Souls bossy, but you got over the main hump.
But like Genichiro like was satisfying. Like that's the one thing that's like getting to the Genichiro fight and beating Genichiro was like enough to like prove that like to me that like this game is actually fantastic. That I actually do love this game because it's like that fight will push your shit in the first time, but it's like once you get the fight, you can understand the mechanics of the fight and still get your shit pushed in, but when you finally beat him, it's like holy fucking shit, this was great. Like the whole
those are the moments. All
the mechanics and everything you've learned up to that point just sort of come together, and it's just like to a really, really satisfying peak. And I'm kind of hoping, because of like everything I keep hearing about like Ishin and like everything else that comes afterwards, I'm hoping it kind of does kind of keep that up, that the whole momentum going. I'm hoping so. Yeah. So
it does. I'm just telling you now. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to going back to it though. At some point. But in terms of achievements, I feel like I don't. Again, off the top of my head, I can't think of anything like that or anything like particularly satisfying or difficult. But one thing I think I do have a talent for. I think I have an incredible pain threshold for playing shitty video games. And so, one thing I've just remembered, and I have photographic evidence of, because apparently I was that proud of it. I have completed Metroid Other M 3 times in succession. 2 normal playthroughs. One was like me attempting to like speed things up a little bit, and the second one was the hard mode, where you only get like 10 missiles and like 1 energy tank. And I actually completed the hard mode faster than any of my other 2 normal playthroughs. And I will actually, I will send this to you now, so...
Yeah, actually, permission to use these photos on screen. This photo and the proof of Metal Gear Solid 4 for you, Tibor. Can I use those?
Yeah, sure.
Samus, I'm authorizing the use of you to use these photos in the podcast.
Nice.
Fucking hell, like... The thing is, like, that game was actually... Like, the gameplay of the game was enjoyable. It was just that the whole, like, the progression didn't feel good at all, because the whole idea of, like, Samus has these abilities from the get-go, but is just not allowed to use any of them. And the only justification given is that, like, oh, the power bomb is devastating. It's like, okay, well, fine. I won't use the power bomb, but why can't I use any of my other shit? It was just like, it was maddening, you know, just to have that whole, like, that was like the whole premise for why Samus can't do the thing that Samus is usually good at doing, you know? The story was just shit.
That simple.
The baby. Oh, Metroid Other M, it's like an acronym of MOM. Oh, it's all about moms, and it all takes place on the bottle ship. Christ, it's like someone on the development team had that whole baby brain experience. I mean, that's so relevant to my life right now, but
Oh no.
I feel like this topic's run a bit dry quite quick, to be honest.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, I mean, except for like Harry, who's just like an absolute Chad in all video games.
Yeah, I think
which kind of
the takeaway
ruins
from this
ruins the
topic-
fun of it, actually. Because when you know
Yeah,
that
I thought it would be fun, but
when someone is so good at video games, it's just like, oh yeah, I just do all this and it ain't no thing. It's like, oh, okay. You just get used to it. It's not impressive anymore.
Oh, it's like Jim. It's like has his art, doesn't he? It just blows everything out the water and is consistently one of the best artists I've known throughout my life.
Same,
thank
actually.
you.
You know. And
Especially-
You know
Harry
what?
here.
Talking about art,
Oh.
we've got a very
Oh.
special segment.
No.
Yeah.
Oh
We've
god.
got the
no.
show and tell portion.
Oh
Well, so the-
boy.
Yeah, the premise of this portion of the podcast is we each had we had a theme, and we had to go away and design something for another member of the podcast that we'd it had been randomized, and not everyone knows isn't supposed to know who got each other, and the topic was stands from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in response to the fairly popular Gizmodo article that got everyone talking about a Part 6 adaptation. That was a load of bollocks. But, yeah, so that's the premise. We've each designed each other stands, and we're going to start showing them off, basically, and we're going to just react to them, and going to react to them all for the first time, because we haven't seen any of these before. Definitely not. But, yeah, who wants to go first with their stand design?
I'll go last
I'll-
because mine's objectively the best.
Oh, okay. That's confidence. I think Jim's the best because he's the actual artist here.
Yeah, but mine won't be hilarious. Also, just to preface, they will be on screen in the video version of this podcast. So
Yeah, I know.
If you're listening to it somewhere, don't do that. Go and watch it on YouTube and subscribe and click that notification bell, guys, to join
Alright.
the Constant Prime Army, brofeast.
Beat that notification button like a Catholic housewife.
Let's see. How do
Gotta
I-
Based.
bleep
Right,
that out.
I think you should go first, Keeb.
Me?
Yes.
Me? I
Yeah.
wanted T-Ball to go first.
All right.
Okay,
just give
go
me
on.
a second, because I am actually been finishing mine up this entire thing.
Nice.
Right. Okay.
Shit, it just occurred to me I haven't actually come up with the power for mine.
All right. So,
I thought I could come up with a bunch of. I was going to develop a bio, but I think it speaks for itself, really. I don't know how clear that would be to an audience, but
We'll see.
yeah.
Right, nearly done.
I've developed something a little special.
I am having a lot of... I'm hyped. I'm really hyped, to be honest. And I did actually work on mine quite a bit, and I feel like mine is just unironic and people... Well, at least in its presentation. The context is, but...
Not sure.
But, yeah. I'm hoping that it gets me a lot of views, and people like it. Right, we're ready. It's incoming.
It is. It's just I'm not sure how to get this to extend. I don't know how to extend a canvas. It turns out. This is-
Keeb, do you want to go first,
yeah,
and then we'll
best
have...
dad.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right. So here we are, lads. Here, I'm dropping it in now.
Okay, here's the very first one. I'm ready.
I'm excited.
I'm convulsing. What the fuck? You animated it? What the fuck? Based!
Based!
You see it?
Yes! That is rad! I can't believe you actually did that. You fucking put his name in! I'm gonna have to censor that.
I like that. That's
Yeah, well,
fantastic.
this
As
was
if they
was
couldn't
actually.
dox from the picture.
Sorry, I was gonna say this was the
No,
other
I'm
reason I
fine.
needed to know. I can change it later, but
Oh, that's legendary. That is S tier.
So I don't think the picture matters too much, because it's not exactly... But I
It's
love
not,
it.
It's not a good picture.
Well, tell us anyway. Tell us about Baby Blue. What does it do?
So this is T-Ball's Baby Blue. So as you can see, the baby blue is the design is inspired by Walter White from Breaking Bad. It's basically just like him, but he's like kind of like a ghost, and he's like all blue.
It looks great.
His special ability is I am the one who knocks. You know?
Okay.
Honestly, I didn't really think too far. And like the idea of like, I mean, I would like to say that like Baby Blue is like the equivalent of like something like Golden Wind Requiem, but like that the user dies at the end in dramatic fashion.
Oh my god, it's like Notorious
Which is why,
B.I.G. I love it.
If you know, which is why the durability is like 0. If you look at the stat wheel.
Yeah, I see. I see.
All right.
I love it. I
you
think
seen
that one's really good.
Tibor, have you seen that?
I've seen it. I got mine.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
Here you go.
That is really good. Fucking hell, that is good.
That's perfect.
Now,
So-
anyone want an explanation?
Yes.
You see, Sonic Youth, right? This is all a bit of an in-joke wherein, so you see, there's Keeb's here his attachment to Sonic the Hedgehog. And I understand it's one of those stands that the user can wear, like, what was it, Ice Ice Baby? Was that the stand in part 5? The dude who had the encased ice suit?
White Album.
That's it. Right, so it's kind of like that. So when Keeb here dons Sonic Youth, what it allows him to do is it allows him to run from responsibilities and go back to any time he chooses. But the 2013 on his arm is the year in which he first encountered this stand, and it anchors him. He can go back to that year any time to escape trouble. Yeah? There's the Game Gear through which he can navigate time and space when he's in a sticky situation. Just
This is based. This is unreally based. I cannot believe how good that came out.
and that's it, yeah? Sonic Youth. Because we all value it. We don't like age. We don't like responsibilities. Fuck this. I'm putting on Sonic Youth!
Oh my god.
That's based as fuck.
And
It is like
Yeah.
just a better version of Bites the Dust.
yeah, so I admit I'm not too good at creating things out of the top of my head. I can use things. I traced a photo of him from 2013 and I traced a picture of the Sonic Kid, but of course I go over the lines that I traced and then I go over it again. You divorce it from your own from the original and then draw it again, so then it is an original. It just gave you a basis. There's a Game Gear as well there.
I like the
You
Game
know,
Gear that's attached.
I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
The little lines, show. Sorry, I did mean to erase 2 of the lines there that are on the Game Gear, but the lines show that it's a wearable. Yeah, it is not his skin. There's the gloves. Admittedly, the gloves might make the Game Gear a bit of a bitch to use, so use the Game Gear before you put it on. Take the gloves on and off. But yeah, Sonic Youth. The hair is part of the suit. Yeah.
That's amazing.
My god.
And that is
Okay, I'm
Sonic
not feeling
Youth.
that confident about mine anymore. It's too normal.
It'll still be great.
Shall I send mine
Go on,
then?
let's unleash this on the
Go on.
world.
Right. Oh no, hang on. Have I actually saved it as the right Oh fuck's sake.
Don't tell me you closed it and thought it auto-saved.
No, hang on. I've got it. I've just got to just got to save it as a different image type.
Nice. In the meantime, I would just like to thank my wife for the lovely cup of tea she brought me.
Oh, nice.
I love you.
Wait, what
babe.
the- No, I do-
she
do
hasn't
actually have-
brought a cup of tea. That's a subtle hint for her to bring him one.
No, she actually has. She brought a full pot of tea and everything because she knew she thought I looked thirsty.
Here it is. Right. Okay. Here's mine. What the No, what's going on? It should be in PNG.
I'll just...
What is going
Right,
on?
can I tell you the ultra lazy thing, because I forgot about exporting? I just print screened my own image, copied it into Paint and cut and paste it. That's how little I know about what I'm doing.
What am I doing? I'm fucking it all up right at the end.
Just print screen.
No, I don't want to print screen. It actually looks pretty okay for once.
Pretty based.
That should be... Yeah, that's a PNG. Right, we're ready.
Alright, let's see.
Away.
Watch as it's too powerful. Oh, fucking hell.
Oh no, not Stevie.
That's...
You love it.
Oh my fucking god, that's perfect.
This is Harry's Stando, Little Lies. Ritodaizo! What it does is, so it presents you with a multiple choice question, and one of which is the truth, and if you get the wrong answer about a given situation, it does a Requiem-esque rewrite on reality, and that just becomes your reality. That's what it does. It just becomes the case, and that is just accepted and is assimilated into the wider autistic web of life.
Can't dispute it. You are. I was worried it was going to be like a literal web it gets you stuck in, but no, I like that. And
I mean,
you're
it
just then
might.
like going no. You were then going no, that's not true, but it is now. Boom, web of life.
So that's what it does. You have to seek reality, but it just it doesn't make it easy.
Nice.
So there we go. That took too much time.
It's actually based as fuck, though. I like my outfit.
Our different levels of talent here and skill.
Don't worry, prepare to be blown out of the fucking water. So tell us a bit more about this, Jim.
Well, I mean, you've gotten all of the core facts, but I guess this is another in-joke one. The thing about Harry is that he definitely has a a propensity towards the porky pies, the embellishments sometimes, which we play up, and we like to try and figure out. You know, we like to try and reach reality. And yeah, I just thought that was a really good inspiration. I think I like his little question mark on the top of the stand's head. Harry's given a big fuck you middle finger, you know, as if to say like, lol. It's stand stats, you know. It doesn't have power or speed. Okay, it doesn't actively attack you, but its range, durability, precision, and potential are all A tier because it just entraps you in the web, and you just shan't reach reality while you're entrapped.
So what, are they sort of sent to an alternate dimension if they fuck up?
No, what they do is they just sort of live out their life just experiencing reality different, and they're just a no-hoper. They're just a lost cause.
I mean, to be fair, you know, if you don't believe that the English language exists anymore, you can't really do much.
That's what this stand does. I think it's pretty excellent.
I like it.
Right, I'm ready. This is the most hyped one coming next. Harry's drawing. His art has typically been absolutely nuclear.
Alright, this is Wishmaster.
Oh my fucking god.
What the fuck am I looking at?
It has...
Is this me?
No, this is... Have you heard the song Wishmaster by Van Canto?
I haven't. I'm going to have to listen to it.
It's an a cappella song, and it features... for an electric guitar, a guy going riddly diddly diddly, so I made it look like Ned Flanders.
Oh!
Yeah.
Wait, no, I have heard this song.
Okay, so
I was gonna say, it looks like fucking Ned Flanders on roids. Like,
And did you say Nightwish?
No, Van Canto, Wishmaster.
Oh, because there was two Wishmaster songs. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So, this one is a lot like Jim, and that it is actually based as fuck, even if it's a little goofy sometimes. Its power is the ability to grant comedic monkey paw wishes, where if you ask for one thing, it will be a little bit different than what you asked for.
Well, hey, I'm chuffed with that.
But you better stay back when it unleashes its power blast beats using its Moonlight Billy clubs. Because it has no precision, and it will annihilate everything in range.
The teeth and the eyes, the capsules. Oh, based. Wait, what is this? What's this text on his crotch? Oh, bulge. It just says bulge. Oh my god, that is excellent. And he's got how many, like, he's got a... What is this abdominal region?
That is just the raw muscle.
Deep vein thrombose in his armpit. Muscle bulge. Oh, this is rich in detail.
This would make Laserbot proud.
Yeah. I fucking love that. Thank you.
I made him play the drums with his Moonlight Billy Clubs of Justice as well.
Excellent. I'm really happy with how these came out. These way blew past expectation.
Also, I gave him the Gammy Leg of Justice so he can play blast beats on that drum.
There we go. I'm chuffed with that. But which do we think is best? Which we got to each decide a favourite.
It's hard, isn't it? Because it's all personal connections and passed from the person to the other. I don't know.
I mean, just to give my thoughts on each. Keeb's baby blue stand for T-Board, that's cool. Just in that it's the only one that's actually animated.
With sound
that gives
effect.
it a lot of value. T-Board's Sonic Youth stand for Keeb. That blew me away. I didn't expect it to be that funny. It's actually great. Like, as a stand, like, just outside of the context, it is really good. And I won't comment on my own, but Harry's stand for me, that's just probably the most based and red-pilled image I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
I love him.
I am actually torn between Jim's and Harry's. Very much so. I'm siding with Jim's just so I think just like the art is better. But then how can you say no to Wishmaster?
Have you looked at have you zoomed in on the little details?
Yeah, I have. I know that's the thing that I'm really impressed by. There is a lot of detail.
Like
lots
the
of little
details.
details.
Thrombosis.
It is very, very rich. Yeah, and then T-Ball's put a lot of thought and detail and actually drew good. Whereas I drew. If you looked at the art for mine, mine's bad. Mine's awful.
It sells it though.
The only thing I could do was just to animate it, just to salvage it a little bit because I was just like, God damn.
So we got to divide this into categories.
I'm saying Jim's is my vote.
All right, I think.
How about you, T-Ball? You haven't said too much on your overall impressions. Which is your favourite?
Well, honestly, out of them all, I do pretty much. I do like yours, Jib, because there is that element of the grotesque about it. There's that whole 90s element, which I do think is seen in a lot of your art. Yeah. I do like
my personal, I don't know, I can't decide. They're all really good. I'm fucking blown away by how well these came out.
We all win.
I just feel like Jim's the actual stand is stylistically closer to
perfect.
JoJo's. Yeah.
It looks a lot like it looks a lot like a Cheap Trick.
Yeah,
with the eyes.
I took the eyes from Cheap Trick and Echoes, and there's a few other later stands that have them.
I actually really like
and
that.
I sort of combined it with I like the pipes from Crazy Diamond and stuff. And yeah, I think it came out well. I think the stand does look very JoJo's. I think it actually looks quite authentic. And I even used the green lipstick from Steel Ball Run. You know.
Yes.
I went hard.
You did.
But yeah, they're all great. Round of applause, boys. Round of applause.
Yay!
It's not 8 p.m.
Oh no! Jim's is the only one with any genuine masterful artistic talent.
What? No, I think T-Ball's actually looks really good.
I did.
I'm not saying it
slightly.
ironically.
Yeah.
Looking at it
No, I like T-Balls.
Yeah. I like T-balls
Like,
as
the
well.
composition is stellar.
I like the power on T-balls the most.
I think the trick is even if you're tracing something, it's to realise that you're tracing it not because of how it looks, just to get a simple hold, then take it after you've traced it. Take that skeleton out and think, right, how do I do this after? Yeah. The whole point of tracing is just to get your fingers going, the lines, can you make it make sense? So I'm at a very beginner level, so I might need to begin with an outline of a real person, or the proportions will be all over the place. But from there, I will just do it myself, because not everyone's able to pull that out of their own head. So, like, especially with the way it's tilted. Yeah.
Well, so we've seen them all. We've done the topics. Do we have anything else we want to say before we start wrapping this sucker up? Because we've reached a respectable time.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm
have.
using Little Lies as my cover photo on Facebook.
Based.
That's how amazing that is.
I'm chuffed.
Yes.
Closing thoughts. Subscribe to Super Contigo. There's a video essay thing.
Wait, what?
coming out.
You're Super Contigo? Wait, what?
I'm Super Contigo. I didn't
Bro,
I not say that already?
Bro,
I'm your biggest fan.
brought-
Let's collab, share for share.
I bought all your
Sob.
merchandise, Super Contigo. I literally sacrificed my baby on top of a mountain so I could get one of those rare Sonic Chew pins.
But yes, Super Contigo. Actually, go check it out. The
Plug
couple of
my
bits that are out
shit.
are good.
There's probably going to be a video before the end of the month. I don't know.
Yeah, same for me. Check out. I mean, I've got a YouTube channel. It's got some content on it. And check out. I'll link to my my Tapastic page. It's got a comic. It's gonna have more comics. Maybe one day, soon. Actually, they're coming. Maybe. But yeah, links to those things. Any other closing thoughts, boys?
I love you.
Yeah, it was
I
very
love you
fun,
too, babes.
and it was quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it was a good laugh. Right then.